Hello students, this is Nirmala from Vivekananda Academy of Human Excellence. Today we are going to see class 10 Geography lesson number 3 Agriculture. First of all, we'll see from where this word agriculture come from. Agricultura is equal to agri plus cultura. This is a combination of two words. Agricultura. We will see its origination. Agricultura is a Latin word which means agar. Agar, it is bifurcated again, it is separated in two parts. Agri or agar, AGER, which means field, plus cultura or colo, it means cultivation or to grow the crop. It is the meaning of this word, growing or cultivation, that is agriculture. Agriculture is an English word which is come from Latin word agricultura. Agar and cultura means field or growing cultivation. This word has come from late Middle English agricultura, and again it is changed as agriculture. So origination also is important. Here we have come to know about agriculture. The Latin root of agriculture is agri again, or agri means again field here, and plus cultura, it means cultivation, cultivation of piece of land. Now we'll move towards our next part, the science or practice of farming, including cultivation of the soil for the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool, and other products. That is mean by agriculture. It is a science or a practice of farming. In this, agriculture again included cultivation of soil, growing of crops, the rearing of animals like cattle, sheep, goat, rearing of these animals to provide food, as well as this, because of this it provides food to others. It provides wool. In winter season we require woolen clothes, and other remaining products also we get from agriculture. That is the definition of the word agriculture. If we move forward, it is important or the first most occupation which human being has learned, that is the farming. Early human also have understood that how seeds are fallen down, and next year when rain falls, those seeds again grow in small plants. For that small plant, some that crops or grains are growing. By this only human being understood that we can also sow the seeds like this, and we will get different types of productions, or that product food items we can grow, and then it will be useful for whole human being, for everyone. So that food items, in that not only the food but wool also, or clothes like cotton. When we grow cotton, from cotton we get clothes. Wool is useful in winter seasons. Silk cloth, silkworms are reared, so silk cloth also we get, and many more products which are there we get from the agriculture itself. In that, now fishery, horticulture, sericulture, fruits, vegetables, flowers, milk products, many more products have joined now in this agriculture. Not only food grains, or not only cash crops or plantation is there, but many more fields have joined to this agriculture. From this lesson, what are you going to study actually? What are the objectives of this lesson? you are going to study various types of farming and cropping patterns, as well as agriculture contribution to national economy, employment and output. So with the agriculture we get food, feed and fiber. We get food grains for human being, feed is it will be the fodder for the animals also, for the human being also, and fiber like to make the clothes, that fibrous also crops are there, like cotton is there, silk is there. These things we get from the agriculture. Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Here we are going to see now the next part of the lesson, agriculture. What things are included in this? In short, we have seen, but next we will see it separately. Agriculture means growing crops and rearing of animals. Livestock also is the part of agriculture. One side, different types of crops the farmer should grow. There are food crops or sometimes another types of like fibrous crops are also there. Cotton is there, silk is there, and many more fruits are there. Vegetables we get. Different types of crops are grown, as well as rearing of animal is also a part of agriculture. Cattle or cows, buffaloes, bullocks, to rear these animals, or even rear the goat, sheep also is a part of agriculture in many of the regions of our country. Now we will turn towards the types of farming. There are three important types of farming: primitive subsistence farming, intensive subsistence farming, and commercial farming. The cultivation methods depend upon the characteristics of the physical environment, technological know how, and social cultural practices. Farming varies from subsistence to commercial type. In different parts of India, the following farming systems are practiced. As you are seeing in this tree diagram, there are three main types: primitive subsistence, intensive subsistence, and commercial farming, which is a requirement of the society. In detail also we are going to see these three types of farming. First of all, primitive subsistence farming. It is a slash and burn agriculture. Farmers clear a patch of land and produce cereals and other food crops. When the soil fertility decreases, the farmers shift and clear a fresh patch of land for cultivation. It is known by different names in different parts of the country. Subsistence farming or a system of farming that provides all or almost all the goods required by the farm family, usually without any significant surplus for sale. It means the families grow the grains only for the requirement of their family itself. They don't grow any extras or surplus food. Only for the family members it is grown. That is called as subsistence farming. As well as they use the tools which are made by hand, or the tools they don't use any technology or no any machine they use for the working in the farm. So the whatever the hoe or plow is there at their house, that is enough for their work. Land productivity of the subsistence is also low in this type of agriculture. This type of farming depends on the monsoon rain. No irrigation facility they have, so they depend on the monsoon rain, as well as this farming is practiced in few parts of India still. In this farming there is not requirement of more machines or more large lands are not required, extra labor is not required. Only the family members who are working in the farm or who are the part of family, they only can work to cultivate the land, from plowing to weeding, harvesting. Every work will be done by the family itself. Don't need any other outside laborer or no any other equipment tools they require. This is called as subsistence farming, only for the purpose of the family which farming is done, that is called as subsistence farming. This we have seen subsistence farming. Again, if we go next, subsistence farming has two types: primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. So, when farming varies in these different types, subsistence farming, commercial farming, plantation, we are going to see here. Then first, primitive subsistence farming. It is practiced on small patches of land with the help of primitive tools like hoe, dove, and the digging sticks, and family or community labor for self-consumption. This type of farming depends upon monsoon, naturally for natural fertility of the soil and suitability of other environmental conditions to the crops. So this type of primitive subsistence farming is practiced on small patches of land. There is no large lands are available here, as well as with the primitive tools like hoe, dove and digging sticks were available with the early people. So they were using this hoe, dove and digging sticks to cultivate the land, as well as only family or community labor are required for the self consumption for their sake only, because they did not want for the crops for selling, only for self consumption they were growing the crops, they were cultivating the land. This type of farming depends upon monsoon. No any other water availability was that time. So they were depend on the monsoon rain only, as well as natural fertility of the soil they were using. No any our fertilizer was used from outside. So they were using only natural fertility of the soil and suitability of others. So whatever the available they had, that they were using for the primitive subsistence farming. So other suitability of other environmental conditions to the crop grown. It was also seen that which type of weather is in which area, and according to the weather of that region, the crops were grown or crops have been taken. In this primitive subsistence farming, again slash and burn, or it is known as slash and burn agriculture also. Farmers clear a patch of land and produce cereals and other food crops to sustain their family. When the soil fertility decreases, the farmer shift and clear a fresh patch of land for cultivation. This type of shifting allows nature to replenish again. That time this nature gets to replenish the land to increase the fertility of the soil which has been used. I will see what is slash and burn farming. Slash and burn farming is a form of shifting agriculture, a method of agriculture in which existing vegetation is cut down and burned off before new seeds are sown. Typically used as a method for clearing forest land for farming. That time, the early people did not have any other option. They were cutting the trees, that is slash, and burning the remainings of the trees and making plain land for the purpose of agriculture. This method is known as slash and burn method, slash and burn farming. Then, what are the results of it? The resulting layer of ash provides the newly cleared land with a nutrient rich layer to help fertilize crops. So when these trees have been cut or which remainings have been burnt out, that ash gives or provides the land the fertility and which is useful for the crops. It increases its fertility. However, under this method, land is only fertile for a couple of years before the nutrients are used. Yes, this land is cleared, trees have been burnt, which remainings have been burnt, as well as the ashes they mix in the soil to increase its fertility. But when this method has come in the force, the land is only fertile for a couple of years. After all these efforts, the land remains fertile only for 1 or 2 years only. Again, in next year, they have to move towards another place. They did not settle at that time. They were moving all the time in the search of fodder or food. The next type is intensive subsistence farming. This type of farming is practiced in areas of high population pressure on land. It is labor intensive farming where high doses of biochemical inputs and irrigation are used for obtaining higher production. In this intensive subsistence farming, this method is practiced where the thick population is there, many people live, so they need more food grains, and that's why intensive subsistence farming is done in those regions. It is labor intensive farming also. More people are required to work, that is called as labor intensive farming where high doses of biochemical inputs and irrigation are used. It means to get more production, then now biochemical these doses or inputs also, fertilizers also are used to increase the production of the crop. Irrigation are used for obtaining higher production. To get the higher production, these chemicals are used. The irrigation is also used in higher quality and quantity also. Like this, intensive subsistence farming is done in thick population areas. Then, what are the causes of this intensive subsistence farming? The first is growing population. Population is growing in every country in the world every day, every year, and that's why there is more demand for the food items or food grains. That's why we need to grow more and more crops or more production is required, and that's why farmers use this intensive subsistence farming method. Another cause is right to inheritance. People know that constitution has given us a right to inheritance. Father's property, father's land will be given to the children, and that's why also this method is used. We will turn towards our next part of the lesson. Next type of farming is commercial farming. When farmers do not grow crops or raise animal for their own good but to sell it. As we have seen in intensive farming, subsistence farming, farmers grow the crop for their self only, for their family only. Intensive farming also we have seen for some part of the crops or which surplus crops they sell in the market. But if we see commercial farming, it is for the purpose of commercial only. No any surplus they sell, but they grow the crops for the purpose of selling only. Sell in the market. This is called as commercial farming. So they don't grow the crops only for themselves, or they don't raise the animals also for themselves only. They grow the crops or they rear the cattle, they raise the animal for the purpose of commercial use, for the purpose of society use. Maybe when they rear the cattle, it is the purpose to provide the milk products, cheese, butter, curd, many more things they sell in the market. So for the milk product they rear the cattle, as well as all the crops are there, food crops, fruits, vegetables that they grow as commercial or commercial farming they do. The vast patches of land are used for these, like wheat is there, rice, then vegetables or fruits gardens they carry, or they take care of them for the purpose of commercial use. You can see in this picture that how the large farm is there, some crops are you can see here, and with the help of tractor and machine, the pesticides or maybe fertilizers are sprayed. There are several characteristics of commercial agriculture. It is done on large scale farm, as you have seen in that picture, that these farms are not small, or which small patches we have seen in the subsistence farming. Here very large scale farms are there. It creates employment for many people. As these are large farms, work is more from the preparation of land, plowing and weeding, harvesting, many more works are there, and that's why this type of farming provides employment to many of the people. It uses higher doses of modern inputs, for example, high yielding variety seeds, chemical fertilizers, insecticides, and pesticides in order to obtain higher productivity. So, when commercial agriculture comes, commercialization comes in agriculture, there is requirement of all the modern methods of agriculture, modern inputs of agriculture, and it is in higher doses. Like high yielding varieties of seeds will be used, no traditional seeds are useful here. Chemical fertilizers will be used to increase the production. Insecticides and pesticides also will be used to get more production, to increase the production in order to obtain higher productivity, which last end product will be there, that must be in quality and quantity also. So these chemical fertilizers are used in commercial agriculture. As we have seen the characteristics of commercial agriculture, now we'll see the pattern of cropping or cropping seasons. There are 3 cropping seasons: Rabi, Kharif and Zaid. So when these we called as a season cropping season. Kharif season, as the monsoon starts in the month of June, the different crops are taken that are called as Kharif crops, or that is called as Kharif season. From June to October, this season is there. Different types of cereals, pulses are taken in this season. Next to that, when winter starts, Rabi season is there. So Rabi season starts from November to a month of March or April. So these two types of main seasons are there. Cropping seasons are there. Different types of crops are taken in these two seasons, and Z is the third type when there is space between Rabi and Kharif from April to June, which time remains, or which 2-3 months space is there. In that also third crop is taken, that is called as Z. So the Rabi crops season is from October to March. In winter season we harvest the different types of crops, and harvested in summer from April to June. Many of the types of like Rabi crops include wheat, barley, jaw or oats, cereals, chickpea like gram or pulses. Then mustard oil seeds, mustard type oil seeds are taken in these Rabi crops, as well as another different types of crops are taken which are for 1 year. Its span is for 1 year or 1.5 year, like sugar cane is there or ginger. These types of crops are for 1 year. But like oil seeds and cereals, chickpeas or gram which is there, that is also taken in these Rabi crops. These types of crops needed sunlight as well as cold weather, and that they get in winter season, and that's why better production gets in this season. When where for example wheat is there or gram is also there, if winter is proper, then the production of gram and production of wheat will be very fine, or more production will be there. As well as groundnut also sometimes is grown in this season. So these oil seeds, mostly oil seeds also can be grown. Then different types of vegetables, it is there, vegetables are also grown in these Rabi crops. Now the next is Kharif crops. Its season is from July to October. Now we'll see for the major crops. Major crops growing in India are rice, wheat, millets, pulses, tea, coffee, sugarcane, oilseeds, etc. Rice is a staple food of many of the places. Our country is the second largest producer of rice in the world after China. It is a kharif crop which requires high temperature above 25 degrees Celsius and high humidity with annual rainfall above 100 centimeter. The next crop is wheat. It is the second most important cereal crop. It is the main food crop in north and northwestern part of the country. It is a Rabi crop. Another crops are millets and pulses. Millets like jawar, bajra and ragi are important millets grown in India. These have very high nutritional values. Pulses. India is the largest producer as well as the consumer of pulses in the world. Major source of protein in a vegetarian diet. These need less moisture and survive even in dry conditions also. Major producing states in India are Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Now we'll see for the food crops other than grains like sugarcane and oilseeds. Sugarcane is a tropical as well as subtropical crop. It grows well in hot and humid climate with a temperature of 21 degree Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius and an annual rainfall between 75 centimeter and 100 centimeter. Major producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Punjab, Haryana, etc. Oilseeds covers approximately 12% of the total cropped area of the country. These are used as cooking mediums as well as used as raw materials in the production of soap, cosmetics and ointments. So these oilseeds production is also important for our country. Next is tea. Tea cultivation is an example of plantation agriculture. It is an important beverage crop introduced in India initially by the British. It requires warm and moist frost-free climate with frequent showers. The next is coffee. It is also a favorite beverage in India as well as throughout the world. Its cultivation is confined to the Nilgiri in Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Next crop is agricultural crops, horticulture. Non-food crops are here like fiber, jute, cotton. It is an equatorial crop, but under special conditions it is also grown in tropical and subtropical areas also. It requires moist and humid climate with rainfall of more than 200 centimeters. It is mainly grown in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Fiber crops are cotton, jute, and cotton is a kharif crop, grows well in drier parts of the black cotton soil of Deccan Plateau. It requires high temperature, light rainfall or irrigation, 210 frost-free days and bright sunshine for its growth. Major producing states are Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. The next crop is jute. It grows well on well-drained fertile soils in the floodplains where soils are renewed every year. Major jute producing states West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha and Meghalaya. It is used in making gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarn, carpets and other artifacts. Technological and institutional reforms. More than 60% of India's population depends on agriculture. After independence, major institutional reforms such as collectivization, consolidation of holdings, cooperation and abolition of zamindari, etc. were given priority. In 1960s and 1970s, technical reforms such as Green Revolution and White Revolution also introduced to improve the condition of agriculture. In 1980s and 1990s, various provisions for crop insurance, establishment of Grameen banks, cooperative societies and banks for providing loan facilities to the farmers at lower rates of interest. Kisan Credit Card (KCC), Personal Accident Insurance Scheme are some other schemes introduced by the government of the India for the benefit of the farmers. Special weather bulletins and agricultural programs for farmers were introduced on the radio and the television. Now it is available on mobile phone also. Contribution of agriculture to the national economy, employment and output. In 2010-11, about 52% of the total workforce of the India was employed by the farm sector. India's GDP growth rate is increasing over the years, but it is not generating sufficient employment opportunities in the country. What about the food security then? The government designed National Food Security System to ensure the food security to every citizen. It consists of two components, buffer stock and public distribution system, that is PDS. Corporation of India is also the part of that. PDS is a program which provides food grains and other essential commodities at subsidized prices in rural and urban areas. The primary objective of national food security are ensure availability of food grains to the common people at an affordable price. The poor should have access to food, growth in agriculture production, fixing the support price for procurement of wheat and rice to maintain their stocks. For the poor people, this food security has made by the government at every time in the whole year as well as at the time of calamities. What is the impact of globalization on agriculture? Globalization is present at the time of colonization. During the British period, cotton was exported to Britain as a raw material for their textile industries. After 1990s, the farmers in India have been exposed to new challenges under globalization. The agricultural products of India are not able to compete with the developed countries because of the highly subsidized agriculture in those countries. So if we see this during British period, how cotton was exported, and it was the impact of globalization only. Genetic engineering is revolutionizing the agricultural production nowadays. Organic farming is also in fashion these days because it is practiced without factory made chemicals such as fertilizers and pesticides. Hence, it does not affect environment in a negative manner, as well as it is good for our health also. Indian farmers should diversify their cropping pattern from cereals to high value crops, which will increase incomes and reduce environmental degradation simultaneously. This was all about our lesson agriculture. Thank you.